So we are on part 5
Yep.
of our series, and we are discussing the Outcast faction and their brand new master, the gunslinger himself, Parker Barrows.
Barrows, sort of bandit king of sorts, you could say.
Yeah, he's another one that's I'm kind of getting a theme when you're looking at all the masters. Like I get the feeling that all these masters were fought, and that when they're doing playtesting, they played against each other a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I get the feeling, because Parker Barrows seems to be very. I'm not sure. We'll go through it and then we'll discuss our feelings afterwards.
So Parker Barrows.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get started. Parker Barrows, he's a master living. He's also a bandit. Has a cash of 4, and goddamn, defense 6, willpower 6, and the amazing thing, 14 wounds. Wow.
I don't know necessarily amazing, but it's good. It's good that he has 14.
That's above average for.
But I think when we look through, he doesn't have too many defensive abilities. So he's relying on enough wounds that most things can't just trump him in one turn.
Can't just chop through them.
Right.
Maybe Langston could probably.
Even
actually Langston probably. Yeah.
If Langston only does minimum damage, 3 attacks, he'd be alive with 2 wounds. So you have to get moderate or 2 moderates or a severe mixed in there.
Oh man.
Which is definitely possible with Langston. Yeah. But
walk of 5, charge of 7, height 2.
So pretty respectable stat line overall.
Yeah, defense 6, willpower 6. It's pretty average for
master. Like you said, 14 wounds is the only thing that really pops.
Yeah. So, one of his abilities is go through their pockets. When an enemy model is killed within 6, draw a card. Then if the enemy was not killed by a friendly bandit, discard a card. So if it was pretty much in essence if an enemy killed it.
So
if like I killed my own model,
right.
You would draw and discard a card, but if you killed it, you would get to keep the card.
Okay, so when an enemy model is killed, so anytime they're killed,
you draw a card,
Right, if the enemy shoots them to get a blast off them and kills their own model, you get a card. If Killjoy pops out, kills something, your Killjoy, you get a card. If it's one of your friendly bandits, so Parker or his thematic crew, then you do not have to discard the card.
Yeah.
You just draw. Otherwise, you draw and discard.
But he has limited supplies. Once per turn after this model discards an upgrade, add 1 soulstone to this crew's soulstone pool.
Yep. So
per turn after this model discards an upgrade. So if you discard an upgrade, you get 1 soulstone back.
Right, and of course the obvious thing is things like Oathkeeper.
Oathkeeper. Yeah.
But when you look, Parker is all about discarding upgrades.
He's very, very Shenlong-esque.
Yeah. He's got his similarities.
A Fistful of Script. At the end of this model's activation, it may discard up to 4 cards to select a number of enemy ski markers within 4, equal to the number of cards discarded. Place a friendly ski marker into base contact with each selected marker, then discard each selected marker. So it's all ski markers, right? It's not enemy ski markers.
So yes, enemy ski markers. So he picks up to 4. And then has to discard that many. Well, technically he discards first.
Yeah.
But then he has to discard 1 for each marker he's picking, up to 4, and then he basically replaces them with his own.
I love whenever I see about ski marker removal, I'm just thinking, Thunder Brother.
Well, you think how does that interact? And in this case, he just gets a friendly ski marker without removing yours.
Yeah. Really nifty ability. I can see a lot of times where your convict labor.
Oh yeah, and when you look at his 2 limited upgrades, he gains either cards or soulstones for discarding enemy markers. So that's really strong.
Okay, and he has a 6-shooter, shoot of 6, resist by defense, range 12, or melee 2. Okay, interesting. Target suffers 2, 3, 5 damage. This action gains a built-in positive flip. So, and he has... Oh, he also has a built-in tome, which, 2 of these triggers he can pick always. Empty the chamber. Before flipping damage, discard any number of upgrades from this model. Deal +1 damage for each upgrade discarded. So in theory, if you... Let's say you empty the chamber and he had 3 upgrades. You can, in theory, increase his damage spread to 5, 6, 8.
Yes, you'd lose
all
your
your
3 upgrades, and you'd only get 1 soul stone regardless of how many were discarded.
Oh, you only get 1. Okay.
For his limited supplies.
Oh.
But he does have ways to get them back by spending his cash, which he has various ways to increase.
Yeah, because of just being able to get 1 back for just those 3. But then, that'd be like a desperate moment. You really need to kill that moment.
Or even just that moment where they have 3 wounds instead of 2 left, and you just need that +1 damage to guarantee
that
you do enough damage. So he can guarantee anywhere from 2 to 5 minimum damage, depending on how many upgrades he has to discard.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
And then drop it after damaging the enemy model. Place an enemy ski marker within 3. So which goes well with his fistful of script.
Right. So him and most of his bandits all have this trigger where you hit. How does it after damaging? So it forces the enemy to drop a ski marker. So even if you're playing in a scenario with no scheme markers in the scheme pool, Parker Barrows and his crew can force you to play scheme markers anyway to use their abilities to benefit from having enemy scheme markers.
It's very interesting.
Right.
Really interesting ability. And he also has on a mask hide and shadows, which is exactly like all the other hide and shadows.
Push up to 3. So everything but hide and shadows is built in for his 6 shooters.
Which I like his 6 shooters. Like having the option to.
I mean, shoot 6 with a positive twist is pretty good too.
And with his 6 shooters, he's like, oh, you're trying to do convict labor? No. So, like you can try to interrupt convict labor because they have to be within 2. So place an enemy ski marker?
If you... True. Now they get to place it, I believe.
Is it they get to
After damaging plate... Oh no, you place an enemy ski
marker.
So
you can be like...
So you could screw up convict labor if they have them spaced out just perfectly, put one in the middle...
And you can really mess up those people. Like, even with the normals, even with the...
Or even search the ruins.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, Parker... I mean, his answer is usually to run up and just get rid of them anyway.
Yeah. But if you want...
That example of that 10th Thunder Brother, if he just shoots him and says, scheme marker, forces to disrupt it that way.
Give me the scheme marker. Oh wait, now you have to remove your own scheme marker if you want to drop it, and then I do it again.
And you can't normally.
Oh, you can't remove your own scheme marker?
So that's one of those things.
Okay.
So you can take an interact action to remove all... And this is in the core rulebook.
Okay.
You can take an interact action to remove all enemy scheme markers in base contact with the model.
Oh, you're right.
In the core rules, that's why things like performers being able to remove scheme markers with theirs, or anybody that has just a flat remove, doesn't say enemy, they are potentially strong to remove your own.
Nifty. Oh, see, now we learn something new about the rules each day.
Yep.
Speaking of
that
which,
at Califo.
I learned something from one of our videos, from Paralysis. You have an engagement range of 0.
Yes. I'll have to look through that one and see when exactly that happened.
And thank you, YouTube, for we learned something new from our video. Even us veteran Malifaux
fairly veteran, yeah.
Hands in the air.
So this is another his second attack action.
6 with a tone built in. Target mulligans the following condition until end of turn. Pay up. When declaring a tactical action. Is it tactical? Yeah, tactical action including walk, charge, etc. This model must discard 2 cards or the action immediately fails. I can see that. Oh my god! If you get that against a summoner, like...
Yeah, so it's shoot 6 versus their willpower, and range 8. So not a bad range and decent enough shoot. And it's shoot, it's not cast. So you can force this. So, right, and it basically makes them, so they must discard 2 cards or any tactical action fails. They can't walk, they can't charge, they can't summon. Actually, there is one person who can summon.
Oh.
Dashel. Captain Dashel's...
Oh, God!
It's an attack, not a tactical action.
So Dashel's the best way of dealing with Parker Barrows.
Well,
if people are taking Dashel to deal with Parker Barrows, I think it's a good thing.
Anyway, so, right, that's very interesting. Yeah. So not only... So he's got his shooting, which is clearly the main point. But yeah, this is very...
I can say it's a little bit situational.
Yeah, but
like they're like
imagine hitting Yasutori with that. And it is against his willpower, so stubborn does trigger.
Yeah.
But it's still, if he can get off hands in the air, where that 10-inch charge, no charging for you.
Yeah.
Now, and he can't even walk. No, well, technically, he can charge if you have 2 cards to discard.
Yeah.
For him. But.
Yeah, and like that'd probably be one of those moments where like, yeah, I'm gonna discard 2 cards.
There's definitely moments where, he's just gonna.
It's like the whole Misaki misdirection. Like, oh, you have to discard 2 cards. Discard 2 cards to hitch your master.
Considering you draw 6, 2 is that's a third of your.
Yeah. No, it's but like
most,
to be able to
Yeah, it's okay. And so now on to his tactical actions.
The job's not done yet. Cast 5, target number 13. Its range is 18. Push target friendly model up to its walk in any direction. So pretty much for 1 tactical action, he can position models. Also that's another theme.
So you need an 8?
An 8, yes.
But range 18, so yeah.
Yeah, like almost across the board. I mean, well, that's another thing I'm noticing. There's a lot more pushes they've added in this. Like, 10 Thunders used to be... I think 10 Thunders are still masters of pushing, but...
Yeah, I'm just sort of looking at the walk on most of bandits is 5, but yeah.
So, and then for his other one, 5-finger, 5-finger discount.
And this is his 0 action.
0 action. It's cast a 5. You need a target number of 9, so you need a 4 of anything for this to go off.
Yeah.
Discard any number of soulstones or enemy scheme markers within 3 in any combination. To attach an upgrade of equal or lower soulstone cost to this model, the upgrade must have the restriction of Parker Barrows and follow all of the other restrictions for attaching upgrades at the start of the game. And it has a mask, which is not built in, changing plans. After succeeding, take a different 0 action. This action may not declare triggers. I assume that has to do a lot with his upgrades, which give him...
I know for a fact that both of his limiteds, which most of the time you're going to want one of them, they both have 0 actions to give out actions and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he basically gets pseudo-instinctual on the trigger, where he gets another 0. That's another thing they're playing with, is models with multiple 0 actions, and one of them triggers into the others. Right, so that's how he gets his upgrades back. As a 0 action, he just says, I want this Parker Barrows. So, he can discard any upgrade for his other abilities, but when he gets an upgrade, it has to be
Parker Barrow.
His upgrades. So he can't grab Oathkeeper a second time or something.
Yeah.
Now, I think Oathkeeper, when we look at all of his stuff, I think it's a great first turn. You just throw it on him, you discard it, and you use your 0 to pick up a different upgrade.
Yeah.
And that's where
Oathkeeper's fast, if I'm correct.
When you discard it, you gain fast.
You gain fast. Okay.
Now we'll go on to his upgrades, because as you can tell, they're very important. Here, I'll read those. So we start with his 2 limiteds, Black Market and Highwayman. So they both give him Bulletproof 1.
Okay.
Black Market. This looks valuable. At the end of this model's activation, if it took an action that removed 1 or more enemy scheme markers, add 1 soulstone to the soulstone pool, to the Screw's soulstone pool. So, Black Market gets you soulstones when you discard enemy scheme markers. Now it says, if it took an action that removed it. So, actually, I don't think his ability would work, because it's an ability, not an action.
Oh, so would that mean the...
So in this case,
with my hands in the air, would 5-finger discount work? Because does that count as an action?
Yes. So if 5-finger discount was used and you discarded an enemy scheme marker in the process, that would trigger. Or if he simply walks up and uses an interact action. But the main point is that it looks like his Fistful of Script will not trigger it.
Okay, so his Fistful of Script will not trigger...
because it's an ability, not an action.
But his 5-finger discount would trigger it. Okay.
Or if he simply took an interact to remove it.
Yes.
And, of course, any of his upgrades if they add actions that remove them. So, then Highwayman, the other side, has this is worth a few script. Once per turn, after removing an enemy marker, with one or after resolving an action that removed 1 or more enemy scheme markers, draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. So, Black Market, and this looks valuable. At the end of the turn, you gain a Soulstone.
Okay.
With Highwaymen,
You get cards.
Immediately after resolving the action that removed it, you get cards.
Oh!
Which kind of makes sense. You don't get the Soul Stone till the end for the next turn, essentially, but you get the cards right away.
Oh, okay.
So you can use them in that same turn.
So it's a pick. You're picking. Okay, I want a Soul Stone at the end, or I want 2 cards right now.
Sort of.
And
remember, they're limited, but he can swap them fairly easily.
Oh, you're right. Oh my god.
So he can switch to whichever he needs. He might start the game with one and then switch to the other.
So most likely he's always going to have bulletproof one.
Right. There's probably moments where he might discard both, but he'll probably at least start with. So then he has an extra 0 on each one. So stick to the plan. So there are no witnesses. They're both casting 5, target number 10, range 6. Let's see. So stick to the plan. Target other friendly model may immediately take a 1 interact. After resolving, if the target was not a bandit, discard this upgrade or 1 soul stone. So stick to the plan. It's really good on bandits, giving them interact actions. But if it's a non-bandit, you either have to discard the upgrade or a soul stone.
Okay.
So he could force Killjoy to take an interact wherever he pops out, but you'd have to discard a soul stone or this upgrade.
Which that could be in those key moments when oh, I need one more thing to be marked. Take an interact action.
Exactly, like you sacrifice something, Killjoy popped out, you say Killjoy, mark it for death.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's going to be a bandit, where you might. Bandit ran into base contact with an enemy scheme marker, remove that scheme marker.
Yeah.
Now, actually, would that trigger this? Model action, if it took an action that removed, of course, its action didn't remove it. It's giving out an action. Now, what was I saying? It also has on a mask the Changing Plans trigger, where he gets another 0, but you can't declare triggers. So far, all of his 0s have the trigger to take more 0s. Now, Highwayman has the No Witnesses. Same casting. Target other friendly model immediately takes a 1 attack action. After resolving, the target was not a bandit, discard the upgrade or 1 soul stone. So the one that gets you soul stones lets you give out interacts.
Yes.
And the one that gets you cards lets you give out attacks.
Interesting. And being able to swap these out.
Right. So which do I need?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just let Highwayman drop off in order to give whoever, Killjoy, a sniper, give him an extra attack.
So for every upgrade he gets a soul stone.
Once per turn he gets 1 soul stone back. So you can let Highwayman drop off, get a soul stone back, then use his 0 to pick up.
And if you remove scheme markers,
black market gets you even more.
So in theory, you can be like, okay, I'm going to spend my first action shooting. So I shoot, and I blow off all my. Just as an option, I really need this molded. I shoot, I blow off all my upgrades. Then you can do his 0 action, and let's say you're lucky and you have maybe 2 enemy scheme markers and a soul stone. So you can, in theory. Because I know some of them are 2, but he can get.
Well, first turn, you'd drop a an upgrade. You get a soul stone back.
Yeah.
Use your 0 to grab 1 upgrade. Yeah. Now you've got 1 upgrade. Next turn you shoot somebody. You force them to drop a scheme marker. You use that scheme marker to get more upgrades, and you start building your. And now I don't think you drop them all turn 1. That's why I think I would probably start Parker with Oathkeeper, and just turn 1. I'm gonna be fast.
Yeah.
Just every time, turn 1 fast. Opening up an upgrade slot, get that soul stone. Turn 1, grab a new upgrade. And
would you pop the fast turn 1?
Specifically because Parker wants that upgrade slot.
Oh, okay.
He gets a free soul stone.
He gets an additional AP.
He gets that AP, and then his 0, he can actually use his 0 to get an upgrade, because he's not normally discarding most of these turn 1.
You're right.
I mean, he might discard, he might turn 1 black market, give somebody an interact, let it drop off, use his 0 to grab a new upgrade. So those are the 2 limited. As you can see, they're very symmetrical.
Yeah.
He wants to have a second 0, and he wants to have bulletproof, and he wants to have the removing scheme markers thing.
Yes.
So, So then he's got Crate of Dynamite. So you're going to see most of these after this have something along those lines. So it gives him the 1 high explosives action. And actually, so the first two are only him. Mm-hmm. Crate of Dynamite is Parker Burroughs or Mad Dog Beckett, which is the henchman that comes with it.
Okay.
So him or Mad Dog can take this.
Old Western funny, like Western names.
So it gives him the high explosives action, casting 6, target number 14, range 8. So that's needing an 8 of anything. All models within 3-inch pulse of target scheme marker, so range 8 to the scheme marker.
It can be either friendly or enemy scheme marker.
Right, any scheme marker.
Yeah.
So all models within pulse 3 of target scheme marker must succeed on a 13 defense duel or suffer 4 damage. Discard the scheme marker, then discard this upgrade or 1 soul stone. The attack does not need line of sight when targeting an enemy scheme marker.
I like the option that you can either discard a soul stone if...
Right, you can either let it fall off.
In theory, you can do this 3 times if you discard soul stone.
You would need to discard at least 2 soul stones.
Yeah.
And then when you let it die the 3rd time, you'd get it back.
So let's say you're playing them...
And you also need 3 different scheme markers.
Oh, you're right.
Because it does discard the scheme marker. So this is another. Crate of Dynamite gives you an action that discards enemy scheme markers. It also... That's the interesting. You can target yours, but ignores line of sight when you target an enemy scheme marker. So
like, I see this as a lot like if... you're at a key point and, let's say Parker Barrows shot somebody and he dropped an enemy scheme marker, then you can be like, all right, I want to create a dynamite. All right, let's say you have 3 or 4 models there. Those 3 or 4 models have to make a 13 number target.
Right. And I get rid of it, which, let's say he's got black market on him, then I'm going to get a soul stone back.
Yeah.
Which is why he might spend the soul stone to keep create a dynamite. Or it just depends on what your plan is that turn.
Yeah.
So Hail of Bullets, this is another one that a lot of people have talked about because it's very thematic. So Hail of Bullets, it's 1 upgrade, just Parker Burroughs, 1 action, Hail of Bullets. Shooting 6, target number 13, range 12.
So you get a 7 of anything for this to go off.
Because the tome is built in. So if anything stripped the tome, you'd need it.
Yeah.
Place 2 50mm, height 0, hail of bullet markers
in
line of sight touching each other within 12 inches and not in base contact with an enemy model or marker. So not with an enemy like most. Place 2. Now height 0, 50 mil. These markers are hazardous terrain pieces dealing 2, 3, 4 damage and soft cover. Remove these markers at the start of the model's next activation or when this model is removed from play. This action may only be taken once per turn.
So I create...
So there's just an area, and you're just filling that area with so many bullets that it's hazardous terrain now.
See, I was thinking, the first thing that came to mind was when you said that, Malifaux Child! No, but this action may only be taken once per turn.
Yep.
So you can't Malifaux Child it. And have the Malifaux Child be like, I'm gonna be like you, and I'm gonna shoot you, and create 4 of those. Nifty. Creating terrain is always nice.
And that's hazardous is especially interesting
and really annoying. That's one reason I love Amano Zako, because she can do.
Yeah. Now it's not quite as bad as hers because you do have to push somebody into it for it to possibly work.
But you're creating the only thing is it's height 0. So you can see over it.
Right. It doesn't block line of sight at all. It only gives soft cover. Yeah. So if you're within 1 inch, you get soft cover.
Yeah. Which is better
than nothing.
I mean, it's a good way of the bandit protecting some of your bandits. So creating that. Oh, I'm gonna.
No, you have to be careful. There's no enemy pushes, but
which what we've seen with this book. Pushes are becoming quite standard in most crews.
Although a lot of them are friendly, but yes, you have to be careful against certain masters.
Sensei using thanks for the hazardous terrain, buddy.
And so it has a trigger on a Rams. That should hold them. Take a breath. After succeeding, discard this upgrade to heal 2 damage.
Okay.
So that's a trigger. You don't have to do that.
I mean, and if you're just doing cycling. Yeah. Just to try to get 1.
Parker wants to discard at least 1 upgrade every turn.
Yeah.
That's why so many of his have ways to discard themselves. So that's Hail of Bullets, and he has another. Or this model gains the following trigger to its hands in the air. So the one that disables their interact action,
Yes.
or no, disables tactical
actions, which is walk, charge, etc. Or no, walk. Sorry, walk.
Walking, charging, flurry, interact.
Yeah.
Those are all tactical.
Yeah.
So it gains this trigger on atomes, which I believe is built in.
He does have it built in.
On that, yes.
Yes. That's why I wondered why it was built in.
He's got the valuables, please. After succeeding against an enemy model, place an enemy ski marker within 3 of the target. So it's very much like the other, except it's on his hands in the air. So if he has Hail of Bullets, he can use hand in the air and still put enemy ski markers, which he could then remove with Creative Dynamite. Now, honestly, you're probably going to take Hail of Bullets for the first part, but you might pick it up if you think you're going to take advantage of the second part. So, moving on, because he has a lot of personal upgrades.
Yeah, he has 8.
No, 7 of them. This one's Mad Dog.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was 7.
But still, 7 upgrades just for himself.
You guys thought Shenlong was...
Yep. I believe he's the most. The only person even close is Jack Daw, I think. Jackie Daw, because of his curses.
Oh, you're right.
So then he's got Stick Up. So
that's
the Stick Up upgrade gives him the Stick Up action. Shooting 6 versus Willpower, range 8. This action can only be used once per activation. Target enemy enforcer, henchman, or master may choose to suffer 4 damage. If he does not, it must discard 1 soulstone if able, and this crew may add 1 soulstone to its pool. So you pick an enemy enforcer or higher.
Shoot versus willpower.
Shoot versus willpower.
Okay.
So they choose. They either suffer 4 damage or they give you a soulstone. Now here's the thing. The way this is worded, if they have no soulstones in their pool, they can say, I'm not taking 4 damage. I have to give you a soulstone. I don't have any.
Oh, I'm playing Misaki.
So right, gives Misaki even more reason to just burn through them.
Yeah.
So it gives him, and then he's gains the following ability, Fast Getaway. At the start or end of this model's activation, it may discard this upgrade to take a walk action. So that's probably Fast Getaway is the main reason you take it. But then you have the Stick Up action if it
you're talking, beneficial. Casey, about how you want to try to be discarding an upgrade every turn.
Right.
And Stick Up might be one of those ones you take, like you want, it's either at the beginning or the end of the game. And the round. Not
end of the turn. So either when he first, so his activation. Yeah. So he either activates walks, or then he activates, does his whole thing, and walks at the end.
Yeah.
To discard it. You could even activate him, use the Stick Ups stuff, and then discard it at the end.
Yeah.
Right, whatever you need. Now, stealing a soulstone, there are moments that I can see you doing this once or twice to empty the enemy pool, or it's 4 damage. So he could force you doing it twice in a low willpower model. You're either taking 8 damage or giving me some soulstones.
McMorning. McMorning's willpower 4.
No,
is he 5?
Sure. I think he's 6'6", defense willpower.
Is he? Because I always felt he was relatively low.
I always remember him as being balanced. We don't play too much. We have a friend who has him, but... But yes, there are some very low willpower models. And considering that it's enforcers, henchmen, and masters...
Oh, there's got to be somebody with low willpower.
Probably.
Yeah.
Minions and peons are the only thing
I think the tactical action is kind of situational, but the Fast Getaway is very useful.
Yeah, so that's another Fast Getaway is the main reason.
Yeah, the Stick Up action is nice, but I'm thinking in terms of when you build, you want something that's going to always...
It's something to have in your mind that you can do. Yes. I can take this upgrade and steal soulstones, but... There
will be times where you have 1 soulstone left, well, you either ditch that or you take 4 damage.
Exactly, and less soulstones mean they can't spend it on prevention, which means... So then we have Human Shield. While within 2-inch aura of at least one other model, this model benefits from soft cover. So 2-inch aura of any other model.
Oh.
Friendly, enemy, doesn't matter. He has soft cover because he's using human shields.
Get it from me, buddy.
I figured that case it's just kind of like placing yourself. But then he has the ability, sorry friend, after an attack from an enemy model succeeds against this model may discard this upgrade to make target friendly model within 2 of this model suffer the effects instead of this model.
So it's like it's
a like, one-use misdirection within a 2-inch aura. So yeah, he gets to pick one of his bandits, and it's like, oh man, that sniper shot got, or what is it? Enemy model succeeds. So it's as soon as it succeeds, before you know the damage flip, but after succeeding.
Yeah. See, one thing I'm thinking of is, so it pretty much it gives Parker Barrows the ability to have soft cover all the time as long as he's within 2 of another model.
Yes.
So
and he could be in the front of that as long as it's a 2-inch aura.
Yeah.
And he can always have a cheap bandit around to eat an attack.
And also, I mean, the Halo bullets too. Like, so he has 2 ways. He can generate soft cover for himself. And then he can generate the soft cover in front of his own models.
Right. Now, of course, that would require 2 upgrades, but, for example, you could have one of your models hugging whatever cover there is, maybe either hiding behind barrels, and Parker Barrows has soft cover even though he's outside because the model's close. And so then, all of those are 1 upgrades. This is his only two upgrade, and his last upgrade.
Coordinated heist.
Yep, the coordinated heist. All other friendly bandits with an 8-inch gain the following ability. Scout the field. After initiative is determined on the first turn, this model may take a walk action.
Wow.
So, he's probably starting the game with coordinated heist. Or it's possible. However, he also gains the following ability. You were told to duck! When this model targets an enemy model with a projectile action, this model may discard this upgrade. If this happens, it does not randomize the target. Instead, it makes the declared projectile attack against every model that would have flipped a card if the attack was randomized. In the order of its choosing. Then all friendly models that were attacked in this manner may push up to 5 in any direction. So, it targets an enemy...
That's a big block of text.
So you have to target an enemy. You can't target your own. Target an enemy. You shoot everyone that would have been randomized. And then your friends may choose to push out as long as they were targeted.
So in theory... You can, in theory, like, I throw in this 1 cheap minion or whatever into like 5 guys. Bam! And I hit all those targets that were randomized, and your model gets a 5-inch push to possibly not be a target.
Yeah, maybe I charged one of my, and it's any model. So maybe I charge a model in, and like you said, it's engaging 2 or 3 of your models. I target one of yours. You only randomize with everyone within 2 inches of that target. So if let's say it was Killjoy engaging 3 of your models. Well, the one way on one side might not get hit if I have to target one on the other side.
Yeah.
Like, it's depending on the exact arrangement. But yes, you could target.
I think Scout the Field is probably what you really want. And I mean, I'm not saying that you were told the duck isn't good, but like I think it's another thing that's very situational. Which Parker Barrows seems to have answers for almost any situation.
Yeah, that's, like, I'd start with Highwaymen or Black Market. I'm not sure at this point, might depend on the schemes and strats. I'd have to play them. Coordinated Heist, there's a good chance I'd start with that. And then Oathkeeper. I think that is my standard three upgrades for most Parker Barrow. And we haven't seen for sure.
Yeah.
But the way he can swap out upgrades, like I said, you free up a slot with Oathkeeper, you have Coordinated Heist is probably next to go.
And just being able to pop out other, like, it's any scheme marker he can pop that he gets back his, if he pops any scheme markers, is it the only
so
enemy?
for
be able to get upgrades, 5-finger discount?
enemy scheme markers.
So it has to be enemy scheme markers, okay.
So it's soul stones or enemy scheme markers. So, yeah, I can... And that's why he's got
That's
that
why you have
cushion.
your soul stone, yeah.
He's got lots of ways to get soul stones to help. Okay, so...
I think he would love to play against Colette.
Exactly. Well, Colette,
Nelly.
Nelly.
Yeah.
Titania, Nelly. Like, anybody that drops lots of scheme, even, I can't remember her name now all of a sudden. Your new master. Asami could be dropping lots of scheme markers.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, hers are optional. They're attached to an upgrade, her upgrade. But Parker Barrows just loves anybody who wants to drop scheme markers.
Yeah. He does have a very Shenlong-esque to being
right, swapping to what he needs.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, I'm playing against a very shooty list. Okay, I'm gonna bring Human Shield and maybe Hail of Bullets.
Yeah, and you can even just swap on the fly is what's great. Now, he can only pick up one per turn, unless somebody else somehow gave him zeros, but I don't think that's really viable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
So what do you think of Parker Barrows overall?
I think he's really cool. I don't know enough about the Outcasts as a whole, but just having somebody who can mess with enemy scheme markers, and heck, I mean, the fact that he can place his own pretty easily, that's something that Outcasts didn't necessarily have. The closest is they would just out-activate with Hamlin and place the scheme markers where they needed them at the end of the...
He's probably the most schemiest master.
Yeah, and a very killy faction.
It's still pretty killy himself. I mean, his 6 shooters. I mean, his 6 shooters are good.
Yeah. I mean, it's like most masters. He's pretty balanced. Yeah. Just the shoot 6 isn't as good as various people with melee or shooting of 7. Right.
Yeah.
But
he's not gonna beat Ida in a shootout. But I mean.
But that plus flip will give him what he needs when he needs it most of the time.
All right.
Okay.
So shall we jump into his
totem, Doc Mitchell.
Doc Mitchell. I love the model though. The one finger up in the end.
Sir. Yeah, and even like some of his attacks are great.
Oh, and he is a minion too.
Yes, he is a minion.
So Doc Mitchell.
But he is insignificant.
Oh, so again. Grumble. All right. Okay. Doc Mitchell. He's a minion. He is living, obviously a totem, and he is cost 3. So he's insignificant, so he can't...
It's also important to note he is not a bandit.
Oh, he does
not have the bandit keyword, so anything that affects bandits...
Because he's been kidnapped by...
Exactly, he's been press ganged.
Before that, I forgot to mention his stat line. Defense 5, willpower 4, 4 wounds, walk 5...
5 wounds.
Oh, 5 wounds?
Yeah, willpower 4, 5 wounds.
Okay, so 5 wounds, walk of 5, a charge of dash... and
no charge.
Height of 2. He's insignificant. He has... drunk and pathetic. This model is immune to the focused, defensive, and poison condition. Okay.
Focused matters on his one real attack.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so his...
And then he's got another ability.
I'm having trouble reading that.
Doc, get over here. At the start of this model's activation, it may discard a card to push 5 towards a friendly bandit within 12 in line of sight. So he's got like Perdita's reposition.
Oh!
Somebody's like, Doc, get over here, I'm wounded! And so he pushes and gets closer to a bandit, which includes Parker.
And then does he heal him?
So that's what he's got, Stitch Up.
Stitch Up, okay.
But, okay, so he starts with, on his attacks, pretty token. Doctor's bag, so he hits you with his bag.
So melee 4, resist defense, range 1. The damage spread is phenomenal. A 1, 2, and a 3.
It's not as good as Katrina's. That's the... I want to say 011 or 001.
Sounds about as a nurse. I think it's like 001.
Yeah. So that's his doc. Then he has Hidden Flintlock. Shoot of 4, resist defense, range 6. Or projectile 6. So it's pretty close. But then... For a totem, target suffers 3, 4, 5 damage. This action may only be taken once per turn. After resolving this action, during this model's activation, if this model has line of sight to a friendly Parker Barrows, sacrifice this model. I told you not to bring any weapons, Doc.
God, so he gets killed.
So he's got his hidden flintlock, but if Parker sees him use it...
Oh, okay.
And that's
so he's not what's copycat killer.
Right, and that's part of why he's immune to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Is you can't give him focus to take a good shot with that pistol.
I mean, so shoot a 4. So yeah, I mean for a minion, I mean just to be able to not for a minion
For a 3-point totem, that's pretty. And so then his real thing that he does is Stitch Up. Casting 4, target number 10, range 5. Interesting, there's no rams needed.
Oh, because most healing.
Most healing, so any 6. Target heals 1, 2, 3 damage. Then on a crow, this will numb the pain. After succeeding, target gains the following: hard to wound +1.
Ooh. That could be pretty good actually. Like
Right, so it's range 5, and so Doc, get over here. You could potentially be outside of the range because you have to be within 12 inches of a bandit, but still. So he can push 5 inches towards bandit, then he's got 5-inch range to heal him. Right, and throwing the crow at it, you could give Parker Barrows hard to wound.
You could give any of them hard to wound.
Any of them,
or any
yes.
model, right?
Technically, any model. Yep. The only thing that's restricted to bandits is Doc, get over here. Only bandits can give him that relocate.
Okay, I'm thinking about.
Or you can only relocate towards bandits.
So I'm trying to think of like there's some other models where giving hard to wound would be really good. Probably something. Outcast players, you probably.
Lazarus.
Oh,
I mean, Lazarus has its own self-healing.
Yeah, Lazarus has hard.
But even if you just throw hard to wound on there on top, anytime you combine armor and hard to wound is usually amazing.
Yeah, because you're doing.
Give to Shiro armor. Give hard to wound to something that has armor.
If you give to Shiro hard to wound 3.
Not gonna happen except for some weird, weird alternate rules.
Yeah.
Well, there's that tag team. You could always tag team Parker with
him. just to Park Barrow so we can.
No, but I'm thinking giving him armor with sparks, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
So that's Doc Mitchell. He's pretty straightforward peon. He pushes around, heals bandits, has some funky attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's that moment. I can just see that one time in a million where Doc Mitchell lines up and gets severe damage to take out some crazy...
Red Joker's the damage.
That is a phenomenal Red Joker's track.
Yeah.
But, alright, so...